I'm delighted to be joined today by Alexander Downer, who is Australia's Minister for Foreign Affairs for a record-breaking 11 and a half years. Since 2014, he has been the Australian High Commissioner here in London. To what extent do you think that the UK's negotiating position will be constrained in entering into agreement with one country by what it has already agreed with other countries?
Well, why wouldn't you want to, I suppose? Why wouldn't you want to? I mean, I don't think that's, if I may say so, intellectually the way to approach the issue. I think intellectually the starting point is that if you have free trade, then that is inherently going to be beneficial in terms of jobs and prosperity. That's going to be good for your economy. So if you make a lot of concessions to the European Union, obviously you want to have as much of a free trade agreement with the European Union as you possibly can, as all politicians are saying in the UK. And if that's the case, and you need to pass on some of those terms to other countries, it can only be a good thing, not a bad thing. So that's how to think about it. I think it's more the other way around. If trade agreements with one country lead to some constraints on trade agreements with other countries, that's not necessarily desirable. But we don't have that situation really in any substantial way in Australia. We have a free trade agreement with China. We have a free trade agreement with the United States. We have one with Japan. We have one with the Republic of Korea. We have them with smaller economies like Singapore and New Zealand and so on, Thailand. They all work pretty well really, and the fact of one hasn't been much of a problem in terms of negotiating another.
Okay, so you wouldn't see from the other perspective, the EU perspective, the fact that it's agreed most favoured nation terms with other countries, South Korea springs to mind, as being an inhibitor for it in its negotiations with the UK?
Well, they shouldn't do. Again, it depends what their mindset is. If they are committed to a liberal a world of liberal trade, and interestingly enough, the political and bureaucratic leaders of the European Union say they are, then that shouldn't be a problem. But you know, it's not for me to speculate on what the internal politics of the European Union may be, but you know, some of those issues may come into play. But I mean, overall, that shouldn't be a problem.
Alexander, thank you for sparing the time to join us today, and thank you for your insights on what is a matter of vital national interest for the UK.
Yeah, it's a great pleasure.